welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to do a video about foundation. It's going to be talking about what you need to consider when you're making a purchase for a foundation. Foundation is one of those things that is I think one of the most important things when you are doing makeup, because you want a foundation that's going to be perfect for you, for your skin tone, for your needs, and just for you know, making the best out of the look. But of course it's really hard to find foundation. I get so many questions from people asking me to recommend a foundation for them, and it's just not possible for me to do that because everybody has different needs, everybody has different skin types, or you know, it really is such a personal thing that you really have to find one that works for you. I can't really make like a general recommendation for you because it's something that you definitely need to invest some time in and maybe even some money. Well, obviously money, but you know. So I'm going to talk about just some of the things that you want to keep in mind when you are, let's say you're not using foundation yet, or you know you have a foundation that you're not happy with and you're going out shopping for a new foundation. These are some of the points that you can consider, and hopefully that's going to help you to find the perfect one for you. So first of all, I'm going to just talk about what kind of foundations exist. Obviously the one that most people are familiar with is liquid foundation that you can find in any drugstore, in any department store. There's also mineral foundation, which is made with natural minerals, and it's not, I mean, most mineral companies claim that it's all natural. It usually isn't all completely natural, but it usually comes in a jar. It has the mineral foundation is usually a powder that you would buff onto your face with a kabuki brush. The other, another type of foundation that you can get is cream foundation, which is often used by professional makeup artists because cream foundation tends to be a bit more on the full coverage side. So especially for photo shoots and stuff like that, or if you have any sort of really strong facial scarring, or like if you have a really big birthmark or something on your face, then cream foundation is something that you might want to look into. There's also like powder foundation, which usually just comes as a compact. Now this one is by MAC. This is just a compact. The foundation would be inside. You don't have to get MAC, you know, Clinique, and you know, there's lots of other companies that just make powdered foundation. Usually this is just applied with like a kabuki brush. If you don't know what a kabuki brush is, it's something like this. It's a very dense brush. And that's just a really quick and easy sort of foolproof foundation type. Another one, of course, is tinted moisturizer. Now, tinted moisturizer is something that a lot of people like to wear in the summer because it's very light. You know, it doesn't give a lot of coverage, but it'll just sort of it'll moisturize your face, but just deposit a very light layer of foundation so that you don't have like a really thick layer. So those are some of the different types of foundations. Hopefully I'm not missing out anything. So you just have to, you know, maybe experiment. If you're not familiar with all the different types, then don't feel afraid to break out of what you're using. I mean, if you're using a liquid foundation right now and you're not happy with it, you know, go ahead and try a mineral foundation, or try like just a tinted moisturizer. You know, you don't have to stick with exactly what you're using if you're not happy with it. So that's just kind of an overview of all the different kinds of foundations that you can find. The other thing you want to consider is what your requirements are. Like, do you want a foundation that's really quick and easy to apply that you can just put on in the morning, it'll take you 2 minutes to do your whole face, or do you have a bit more time to put it on? For example, like liquid foundation is usually something that you need to spend a bit more time on to get it looking really nice and even. Whereas something like the powdered foundation that I showed you, for example, the MAC Studio Fix, is something that you can just apply to your face in the morning if you're in a rush, and you know, it's pretty much foolproof, as I said. So that's another thing that you want to consider. How much time can you invest in applying it? Also, what you're going to be using it for. If you're going to, for example, a wedding, or you're going to an event and you need something that's a bit more full coverage, like if there's going to be a lot of photography, then you need to choose a foundation that's appropriate for photography. Generally for photography, because I know a lot of people are maybe not familiar, if you're looking for a foundation to, for example, to wear on your wedding day, or to wear to a special event where there's going to be a lot of people taking your picture, I would go with a sort of a more full coverage liquid foundation that does not contain any sunscreen, because sunscreen contains, I don't know what it is about it, there's some ingredient in the sunscreen that can reflect light, so especially if there's going to be flash photography, that can sometimes result in this really bright white sheen on your face in the pictures, and you don't want that. Also, about coverage in general, you need to think about what kind of coverage you want. Do you want something that's really full coverage, like full coverage meaning that if you have any kind of, you know, scarring, for example, on your face, or you have a birthmark, or you have like really strong discoloration, then you want something that's a bit more full coverage? Or do you want something that's sort of medium, you know, that'll still cover it up, but it won't feel really heavy on? And of course the other thing is light foundation, which might be like a tinted moisturizer. You know, if you have pretty good skin, or you just don't feel like wearing a lot of makeup or like a lot of product on your face, and you can get away with wearing a really light foundation, then go ahead. You know, you don't need to wear full coverage foundation if you have really good skin. And also what you want to think about is how long should the foundation last? Do you want a foundation that lasts the all day? You know, especially if you're going to a special event, or like I said, to a wedding, you want a foundation that's just going to last for 12 hours and it's going to still look really good. Whereas if, you know, if you're just, you know, going out for the evening somewhere, or, you know, you're just wearing it to work or just during the daytime, you probably don't need something that is so long lasting, because usually well, not always, but usually the foundations that last a long time tend to be a bit more on the heavier side, which you might not need on a day-to-day basis. Another really important thing is your skin type. So if you don't know what type of skin type you have, there's generally a few different sort of categories. If you don't know what type of skin you have, a really good way of testing it is to wash your face. You can either just use a cleanser or just some water, and then after you finish, or actually just use a little bit of soap or something like that. Once you finish washing, then don't do anything to your face. Just leave it, just towel it off, but don't apply any creams or anything. And then wait a couple of hours and then see what your skin is like. If your skin is still really dry after a couple hours, like it's just really dry and tight, then it's most likely you've got dry skin. If you have some areas that are still really dry and some areas that are oily, then you've got more than likely you've got combination skin. And if your face is just like a grease ball after that, then you have oily skin. So that's just a really fast way that you can test of what kind of skin you have. If you have any known reactions to anything, like if you sometimes put on, you know, like a moisturizer and it burns, then it's likely that you have very sensitive skin. So you should definitely know what type of skin you have, because when you go to a makeup counter, you are going to want to discuss that with the makeup artist so that they'll know what kind of foundation to match you up with. Also, another issue that you want to think about is money. How much can you afford to spend? Obviously, a foundation from the drugstore is going to be a lot cheaper. However, for most people, or for some people, let me say it like that, for some people it's really hard to find a good match or to find a good quality foundation at a drugstore. I know that, you know, people who sort of have problems sometimes with drugstore makeup, that it's just easier for them to find a better foundation that maybe might cost a bit more. You know, it's kind of a trade-off. Do you want a really good quality foundation that might cost a bit more, or do you want to compromise and say, okay, I'm gonna pick something from the drugstore and it might not be the exact right shade for me, or, you know, maybe it's not exactly the right thing for my skin type. So it's kind of a trade-off. There is, of course, some drugstore foundations that are good. It just depends, you know, what you prefer. So I'm not saying that all drugstore foundations are bad, obviously, because I use one too. But for a lot of people, spending a bit more might be worth the investment, because it's something that you're going to be putting on your face a lot. So it might be worth it to just spend a little bit more so that you get a foundation that you really love. So of course now you're wondering, you know, where do I start? Like, where do I get this foundation? Like, where I don't even know where to begin. Well, some department store brands that you can try that are very popular that you can get is, of course, MAC. That's a very popular brand. Now, a lot of people have issues with MAC. MAC is a good place to start. If you, you know, if you've never really bought a proper foundation before, then you can go to MAC and they'll color match you. So you can try there. Another good brand that people, a lot of people really enjoy is Makeup Forever. They make a lot of sort of more professional products. Their foundations are sort of more on the expensive side on the spectrum, but I know a lot of people have had really good experience with Makeup Forever. Some other brands that are really popular are Laneige, Estee Lauder, Bobbi Brown, and Smashbox. There's probably others. I mean, just go to any department store and you'll see, all the brands that are available. And don't be afraid to, actually go up to the counter and then tell them, I'm looking for this, this, and this. I have this type of skin. Can you match me? And they will actually match the foundation to you. They'll probably sit you down, take off whatever makeup you're wearing, and they'll match the foundation for you. The other thing is you can also buy some brands that are more geared towards professional makeup artists. These are brands that are very good, however they are very, well, depending where you live, they're very hard to get. Some of the more professional brands of foundation include Cinema Secrets, Yabi Cosmetics, Ket, RCMA, Visiora, Graftobian, Ben Nye, and Face Atelier. Of course, there's others that I've probably missed, but I'm just listing some of the more popular ones. These are more geared towards the professional makeup artist. Some of these brands tend to release palettes, because if you're a working makeup artist, you're going to be working on different skin tones. So they will sell the foundation in whole palettes with all different kinds of colors inside. But a lot of these ones that I've listed, for example, Face Atelier or Graftobian, they also, and some of the other ones as well, they will also sell individual foundations. So the only thing is that it might be hard to match, because you might have to order it online and then you can't match it to your skin. So that's one drawback. However, I'm going to be posting a link on the side to a website which I know offers samples of some of these more popular professional foundations. So you could go that route. I mean, sometimes these foundations are also a little bit pricey, but they are very good quality. So it's always a bit of a trade-off. Do you go to a department store, which is probably easier for most people, or do you want to order something online and just take the risk of it not matching? Or so that's just something that you can consider. I just thought I should mention those professional brands, because I think most people don't even realize that there's other stuff out there besides what you can find in a department store. Now, as for matching, if you go to a department store and you go up to like a Bobbi Brown counter or a MAC counter, then they can, the makeup artists are trained to do this, so they can match you with the foundation. However, most people, want to know a bit about it before they go in. So, like there's all these different rules of like either you're warm toned or you're cool toned or you're neutral or you're golden undertones. And I always found that really confusing, and I found it kind of pointless, because basically you just need a foundation that matches your skin. And it's good to know, oh, I'm warm toned or oh, I'm cool toned, but for a lot of people it's not necessary. You don't really, like a lot of people say, look at the veins on your underarm. If they're blue, you're this, and if they're green, you're that. And I never found that helpful at all. I just found it really confusing, because most people won't be able to really tell anyway. So the best way is to just match a foundation, and the way that you would do it is let's say you're going up to a counter and you see a bunch of foundations and you have no idea what foundation or what color to pick, then just take the bottle, hold a few up to your neck area, or sorry, like the chin area. Just hold a few up and just see, which am I sort of close to. I mean, you won't get an exact match just holding the bottle, but just get a couple of them. And then what I usually do is I already have a foundation, but what you would do is, for example, you take a Q-tip, or if you're at a department store anyway, they'll have testers. So what you can do is you take the foundation, you would dip it into you would just get some of the foundation, and then make sure you're not wearing any product, obviously, on your face, because you want it to be matched to your actual skin tone. usually foundation is tested here because this is an area of your face that is not, doesn't have a lot of discolorations. I mean, some people have sort of red cheeks, or they'll have, you know, under eye circles. So you don't want to be testing it on your cheeks at all. You want to be testing it here because for most people, they're not going to have discoloration on their jawline. So you would, you know, take a few different foundations and then just streak a few of them, the different colors on your jawline, and you'll see, like, make sure you go out into daylight. If you're in a department store and you're under those special lights, they're usually halogen lights or whatever, sometimes it can be deceiving. Like, you'll think, oh, this is perfect, then you'll go outside and you've bought a foundation and you see it in natural daylight and it looks absolutely nothing like your skin tone. That happened to me. I bought foundation, it looked great in the department store, I went outside, I wore it the next day, and it was completely the wrong shade. So if you do make sure, if you want to make sure that it's gonna look good on you, go outside into daylight, take a mirror, you'll have these different streaks on your jawline, and the correct foundation is the one that kind of disappears. So you'll see, like, maybe some are sort of more pink toned, or some are sort of more yellow toned or golden, and some will be too light, some will be too dark, and the whatever streak that you can't really see anymore, that's going to be your foundation color. So yeah, and the last thing that you can do is, once you've found a foundation that you know that matches your skin tone, then if you're not sure, ask for a sample, like I said, because that's the easiest thing to do, to try it out at home. You'll have a bit more time, you know, you won't feel pressured, and you know, if you like it, if you try it out for a few days and you think it's good, then you can go back and buy it. So I hope that's been helpful. I know it hasn't been very specific, but I think for people who, you know, have never really went out and purchased a foundation for themselves, like, I think sometimes it's a bit overwhelming and they'll end up with the wrong product just because they don't really know what they're looking for. I just wanted to give an overview of some of the things that you want to think about when you're buying a foundation, because I know for a lot of people, if you're buying a sort of more high-end foundation, it's something that can be a bit of an investment because it can be a bit pricey sometimes. So hopefully you'll have gotten a bit better understanding of what you need to look for when you're looking for the perfect foundation for yourself. And yeah, good luck with your search, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.